the end.
Despite its flaws, WrestleMania X8 did well enough on the GameCube for THQ and Ukes, and with sequels to their other wrestling franchises for the PS2 and Xbox on the way, it would only be fair for the GameCube to get one as well. In early March 2003, the release date for WrestleMania 19 was added to THQ's site, along with the other two WWE games released that same year, Raw 2 and Here Comes the Pain. Later in the month, THQ revealed the game at an event in Seattle. Ukes had set out to fix many of the problems players had with WrestleMania X8, in addition to the usual improvements. Keep the same grapple system from the N64 Rocky games, and include an all-new story mode. The game also intended to implement struggles for smaller guys against bigger guys, location-based damage, and it would also add in blood, all of which were introduced in its PS2 counterpart, Here Comes the Pain. The game was further shown off at E3 of that year and a Nintendo press event over the summer of '03. The game looked like a solid improvement on the whole, and on September 8, 2003, THQ and developer Ukes once again brought another GameCube wrestling game to the world with WrestleMania 19. The game was released on September 19, 2003 for Europe and November 7, 2003 for Japan. Did this game seek an improvement over WrestleMania X8? Yes and no. Let's find out how. WrestleMania 19 has most of the same modes as its predecessor with a few new additions. The exhibition mode pretty much has all the same types of matches from the last game, with the addition of First Blood since blood is now available in this game. I won't go too much into detail here since it's pretty much unchanged from the last game. Royal Rumble also returns like usual, but now you can select between 10, 20, and 30 competitors, which is kinda cool. Also, unlike last year's game, you can choose who you want to enter, and when they enter. Beyond that, it's what you expect from the Rumble. In addition to exhibition matches, there is a King of the Ring mode, which lets you do tournaments for singles and tag stuff, either for non-title or for singles WWE and World Heavyweight Championship, and for tag, WWE and World Tag Team Championships. You can even select specific match types like Iron Man or Hardcore, or a plain normal match. You can have between 4, 8, or 16 people in a tournament. There's also a tutorial mode where Al Snow will walk you through what to do. You can also read superstar profiles and even create your own. Again, the Create a Superstar mode is what you expect from it, though unlike last year's game, you'll have to unlock parts. You'll do this in the shop zone. You could spend money on the parts, entrance animations and effects, specific moves and move templates, as well as weapon and ability points. How do you earn the money? The Story mode. Revenge mode. Revenge mode replaces Path of a Champion from the previous game. It lets you select any character except Stephanie and Vince McMahon for good reason, default or created. Bear in mind, if you choose someone like Rey Mysterio, you will probably have a harder time dealing with bigger guys like Undertaker and Kane. The gist of the story is that whoever you selected gets fired from WWE and thrown out on the orders of Vince McMahon himself. After your character is thrown out, you end up meeting Stephanie McMahon, who gives you a proposal.
I see revenge in your eyes. Maybe we can help each other out. See, I can offer you a chance to get back at the very man who ruined your career.
Dreams of every wrong WWE talent, especially those in NXT Black and Gold.
And if WrestleMania doesn't take place, then Vince will be ruined forever.
Little did she know, 20 years later.
There are several missions you need to carry out. Each one will deliver a devastating blow to Vince's WrestleMania plans. You will be compensated with cash for each objective you complete. This contract will guarantee your payments.
There are 4 sections in Revenge mode. Each one has about 6 missions, 5 regular ones, and a boss mission at the end. Each time you clear a mission, you'll get money to spend in the shop zone. When you complete all those sections, you'll get to the XIX Hall for the final mission. But before you do, you must clear the regular missions, which are all over the place to say the least. Before I get into that though, there are a couple gameplay changes I want to mention. For starters, the momentum system. Rather than the vague colored squares in the last game, we now have a full-bore meter that not only tells you the color of where your momentum is, but how much you have with an actual meter. I like this change better since you now have a clearer idea of how your character is doing. Not to mention, there are now body damage indicators, or specific body damage sections more specifically. If you're using a smaller guy against a bigger guy, you can wear down a particular body part by attacking it over and over, and it can hurt their momentum. Wear down the arm/leg enough, and it will make it easier in that regard to fight them. Damage them enough in the head, and they'll bleed. You can even trigger submissions with enough damage. Finally, there are now indicators about when to counter. Depending on the move the opponent hits, the corresponding trigger will show up. Press it before you're hit, and you can counter. I like this since not only do you know what you need to counter, but when to hit it. Except for one small problem. It's still a pain in the ass to counter because the timing of it has not been loosened at all, meaning you can still mash the counter buttons and get nothing. Not to mention, when dealing with multi-man matches, the AI has not really changed all that much. Just about every dilemma I mentioned in the last review when dealing with them is still here. At least the pinfall sliding has ceased. Again, if I were to mention them all, we'd be here all day. But do you want to know what's worse than dealing with multi-man matches in a normal wrestling match? Dealing with multi-man crap outside of the ring. Because that's what Revenge Mode will have you do, with the exception of the final match, of course. That's right, boys and girls. 99% of Revenge Mode doesn't even have you fighting in a wrestling ring. Rather, it happens around various surrounding areas that are getting things ready for WrestleMania 19. There's a construction site, a shopping mall, a parking lot, and a harbor. There's also a warehouse available once you beat the main mode, but why would I want to put myself through any more future torture of this at all? The main wrestling gameplay still remains the same, but in the backdrop of a beat-em-up, meaning the grappling, striking, countering, momentum, etc. It all remains the same, just where it happens is different. Each mission has a goal you must complete before you can move on to the next mission for that area. When you complete the boss mission for a particular area, you'll unlock that boss to use in exhibition mode. You also unlock that particular stage for exhibition mode. Those are the only unlockable characters in the entire game, the generic bosses. At least the last game had some unique characters like Flair and Benoit to unlock. Here, you just get generic henchmen. Hope you can find some decent Create-A Wrestler formulas. Beating it once will get you EX special grapples, and twice will get you Revenge Mode camera in exhibition mode. But as you're about to find out, once is once enough for this mode. We'll start off at the construction site. The first mission has you throw out 5 people within 15 minutes. It's a simple mission that gets you used to throwing people overboard. You're going to be doing that quite a bit throughout this mode. For being a bunch of lowly construction workers and guards, these guys sure aren't jabronis. In any case, toss them out and the mission will be over. Mission 2 has you throw out 8 guards in 10 minutes. A little more challenging on the time front, but should still be fine, right?
Wrong.
This is where they start throwing 2 enemies at once against you. While it's less hectic now due to a more open environment, you cannot escape the bad problems of over-hectic AI. 2 at once, and the last one is an actual wrestler. Survive and you're done. Mission 3 has you throw out 10 guys in 15 minutes. Again, the 2 at once part starts to rear its ugly head even more once again, but it's the same ordeal as before. Mission 4 has you compete against a superstar to see who can throw off more workers within 5 minutes. AI hecticness is now at its fullest thanks to 4 people on screen at once, and it's still all tying back to the root of it all. Next, and no, you can't throw your opponent off before you ask, they'll just respawn anyways. Mission 5 really pisses me off. You start at the end of the stage and you must work your way to a superstar. You must take out who's at the opposite point of where you are. Once you do, you must climb up to a podium where they are and throw them off. All while 2 guards are always going at it with you no matter what. Seriously, you can throw as many of them out as you can, and the game will still keep throwing jabronis at you. That's not challenging, that's cheap. Doesn't matter what difficulty you select, you will still deal with this crap. Oh, and God forbid they throw you off, then you're screwed. They also really love to keep you from getting to the superstar, since they'll always knock you down off the too tall cage to climb onto the podium. And the superstar you face, which is never the same one on repeat plays by the way, never actually goes to face you until you actually get to them. They just wait up there like Spidey towards Bonesaw.
What are you doing up there?
Staying away from you.
The final mission has you protecting the crane controls from one wrestler and the stage boss for 5 minutes. You can throw them out as many times as you want, but they just won't stop. Finish the section and you win. 1 down, 3 to go. If you think it's gonna get better from here, by the way, I'm afraid I've got some bad news for you. It's not. The second section of Revenge Mode takes us to a shopping mall. Since the stores don't have Mojo Nixon, we're gonna give them some fixin'. The first mission here has you taking out 3 guards and 1 wrestler. There's no abyss to throw them in, so make them bleed. Hint, in the bend of the fountain there's a shovel. Get in and it will make it go by faster. You can feel like Triple H back in the day, or you can feel like Roman Reigns nowadays. The second mission gives us 10 minutes to break into security offices to free Stephanie McMahon. Fight through 1 guard and wrestler, then break down the gate that's holding Stephanie and the mission ends. Mission 3. Fend off a wrestler and worker while destroying several WrestleMania signs within 5 minutes. There are 3 signs and it's not too bad like the last one. Fourth mission is another defense mission. This time we have to protect the damn briefcase. It's like interrupting a Money in the Bank match and stopping to it cause chaos and oh wait, that actually happened. Fuck. Hold off a guard and wrestler for 5 minutes and you win. It's easier than the defense mission from the construction site. Mission 5 has us wrecking everything in sight. 10 minutes, 20 objects. Destroy any destructible object and you win. The last mission is still yet another defense mission. This time it's of the defend and destroy variety. Specifically, your getaway car and the other car respectively. 2 against 1. Fight for the sledgehammer, then keep running in a circle, assuming the AI doesn't screw you over like it probably will as you destroy the car. I can't decide between the final mission here or the construction site, which is worse. In any case, we're done here. The third section is the parking lot. This is where things go from bad to worse. I mean, the mall section had a couple bad missions, but this here, it gets really worse. I hoped you liked destroying cars in that last mission because we get to do it here as well. Only this time we have 10 minutes to put 3 jabronis through a car. Not much to say here. Mission 2 has us take out 5 guys within 15 minutes. You must make them bleed like the first mall mission. Only this time you must fight 2 at once. Why? Haven't we had enough? Nope. I present to you one of the worst missions in the game. Not only do you still fight 2 at once, but now traffic can take you out like the train match in Def Jam Fight for NY. Stephanie has left us some money for completing half the job so far. Find and get this briefcase with the money. The problem? She has suspended it in the air above moving traffic in the garage, and she's forced us to climb a pole and time our jumping just right to grab it. That's right, we have platforming in a game that wasn't designed for it. It's too hard to judge distance. The camera doesn't always give the best angle, even when you can adjust it, and if you fall down, you have to go back up and try again while fighting 2 goons off. This is not challenging, this is really freaking cheap. Not to mention, you don't jump immediately, so you have to time everything perfectly. It's a swinging jump. Otherwise, you're gonna be swearing like a GCN. Mission 4 lets us take out this frustration on Vince's big rig. You throw 4 opponents through the top of it in 10 minutes. Oh wait, you can't be put through yourself or you'll fail. There's actually a lot of space on this rig, and a simple suplex will do the trick for each section. The ledge might actually be a better choice though. Mission 5 gives you 15 minutes to take out 10 opponents. You must face 3 at once, and throwing them into traffic is easier said than done. Just do it. The final mission has you go against Vince's personal bodyguard. 10 minutes to reach him and throw him off the platform. But you have to do more crappy platforming. That shows why a game like this shouldn't have it in the first place, you stupid sons of... Sorry. I just have really bad PTSD over this mission. It sucks, and it's why save states were invented. Finish, and you finish the section. This section was the worst. It's just the worst of the bad design of some of these missions, all amalgamated into one big ball of frustration. Right now, I have a hard time believing it could get even worse than that. I'm scared to find out. You also notice I'm getting angrier with this because it's just becoming so damn tedious. Like, if it wasn't, that would be one thing, but it's not. It gets old in the first section, and it gets worse as we keep moving on. So let's just move on before something else happens. The harbor section is the last section here. We must stop supplies from getting to their destination. We start by taking out security. 20 minutes to throw off 5 henchmen. Stupidly easy once you break the walls down. Mission 2 has us break out of the shipping cell within 10 minutes by climbing to the top and climbing the chain to the platform. I hope you have patience because you're gonna need it. Also, 3 at once. Game? Listen to me when I say...
Stop it. Get some help.
Mission 3. 15 minutes to throw 8 off. 2 at a time still sucks. What did I just say, game? Mission 4 wants us to reach the crate on the ship within 10 minutes. Let's just say 3 at once again, and you really feel handicapped. Especially when fighting just to get a damn wood crate so you can climb on the main crate. Mission 5 gives us 20 minutes to throw 10 workers into the ocean for a swim. And the final mission here has us break into the control room on the ship. It's similar to the mission where we had to save Stephanie, except with a smaller door and 3 at once. Again! Clear the mission and we're done. With that, we can finally go to the 19 or XIX hall.
I guess you came here to collect the rest of your money. Well, you must not have read the fine print of that contract you signed. See, you don't get paid until you win the main event at my WrestleMania.
Your mania? If only this secret takeover happened much sooner in real life.
Now go out there and get your revenge and make my pay-per-view a success. This event will make me the most powerful McMahon in this industry.
At least an actual McMahon and not an in-law. You have 15 minutes to beat Vince McMahon. Do that and you're done. Stephanie comes out, gives you the rest of the money, but then all of a sudden doesn't want to, and then Goldberg spears her, so you get the money anyways. And what was with that flash to white? Was the world really not ready to see Stephanie get speared? We really had to wait 13 years to see it live. At a crappy WrestleMania, mind you. Whereas here, it's just a game. You know what? Don't think too hard about it. Money reigns. Roll credits. Let's just wrap this up. The controls haven't really changed that much from the last game, and they work mostly the same as they did before, with the exception of more grapples for better move variety. Pinning, though, is now down and grapple, similar to the main PS2 SmackDown games. Climbing is now done with Y, and very few things like that have been done to make it just a bit closer to the PS2 SmackDown games. Hell, you'll even feel it in the pacing of the matches itself. The changes are more subtle, and anyone who spent a decent amount of time in last year's game should easily pick them up. Even those who mostly played the PS2 SmackDown games should pick up on this. So it's all good on this front. The graphics do actually look better than WrestleMania X8. Lighting is better, so models, bodies, faces, etc. look even better and have more details. Both main and alternate attires are well designed and look good. Both wrestling environments in and out of the ring and everything else I described in the previous review does look better. That's all I can say about that. Less jagged edges, smoother looking models, better looking animations all around for moves and everything. Though front row crowd looks like models from Survivor, the interactive game, and I don't mean that as a positive, by the way. Further background sprites haven't changed much, but the game does look pretty good, and it does run at a rock-solid 60 frames per second. Sound design for the game has better sounding sounds for the usual. Ring mat slams, slams into other objects and the like, weapon hits, etc. Fighting outside the ring also sounds fine for the most part, with hits on the actual ground sounding like they should. They also sound more impactful than in the last game. Again, not much voice acting to talk about here. You'll hear the ref when counting pinfalls, the voice that yells "eliminated" when throwing someone off, the guards at the cutscene at the start of Revenge Mode, and Stephanie McMahon herself. As for Steph, well, her voice acting isn't the greatest. It sounds too low-key, forced and phoned in at the same time in parts, and it sounds like they only had her for enough time. And it also sounds kind of compressed as well, but I guess that was just the quality back then, but what can you do? The music itself is also fine. We tend to lean away from the techno feeling in the last game and lean more into the rock category here. The only track that forgoes this is the menu tracks. These make you feel like you should be in a rave or something. Many of the in-game tracks you hear were actually used in SmackDown Here Comes the Pain, the one exception being the special track when you're about to pull off a finisher. That one was also used in Day of Reckoning, the follow-up to this. Again, it's adequate. In terms of replayability, you can always start another Revenge Mode for more cash, or just do the warehouse missions, but nope, never again. Create a Wrestler can keep you busy for a while though, and maybe get the other bosses missed since there is up to 20 of them, but since they aren't the main stars or any actual wrestlers you'd want to play as, there isn't much of a reason to unlock them at all. WrestleMania X8, while it does feature graphical, control, sound, some quality of life improvements, and the actual wrestling part of it still looks and plays well, the AI problems from the last game have not been fixed. This in turn ruins Revenge Mode since it leads to an inconsistent difficulty. Combine this with some bad mission design, including platforming where there shouldn't be any, a mode that barely has any wrestling aside from the very last mission, and lackluster replayability that depends on you replaying Revenge Mode, makes this one just a bit more difficult to recommend than WrestleMania X8. If you've exhausted that, I mean X8 or all other wrestling GameCube games for that matter, sure, why the hell not? It goes for about $20 CIB in North America. PAL users have it the cheapest at about $16, but Japan users have it priced at about $27. If retro game market shenanigans happen and it gets more expensive, don't bother. Just emulate or get an ODE for the GameCube, or play it on a homebrewed Wii or Wii U. Unless you're a die-hard fan, which you'll probably buy it or already own it anyways, and even then, try to get it at a small discount if you don't. You'll thank yourself later. I give WrestleMania 19 a 3 out of 5.
Thanks for watching. If you like what you saw, click the big red button below to subscribe. Check out the other links in the description for more cool stuff, and check out the playlist on screen for more content. See you in the next video.